Blast me to Bermuda! It's time for another Mad Merlin's video. Hello and welcome back to our Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duels GX Duel Academy box deck overview. We've got 2 decks left to go, and this is a kind of a double bill because it's looking at the bonus deck. So we will start off with the actual deck itself, which is Jesse's deck. So as usual, we will go through the skills, go through all the cards and combos, think of any strengths, weaknesses, and ways we can modify. So, first up we've got his skills. So Jesse's skills will focus around his Crystal Beast monsters. So Crystal Transcendence, you can only normal summon or set Crystal monsters and Dragon monsters while this skill is face up. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can send the top 3 cards for your send up to 3 cards from your hand to the graveyard. Then choose that many Crystal Beasts with different names from your deck and place them in your spell and trap zone as continuous spell cards. This skill can be used twice per duel. So this is basically a quick way of getting all your Crystal Beasts monsters from your deck to the field. And you can discard pretty much any cards. So most of the cards that require Crystal Beasts to be out, to bring them out, requires the Crystal Beast to be either on the field or in the graveyard. So if you discard a couple of Crystal Beasts to activate this effect and put some more onto the field, it's going to help you out either way. And you can use it twice per duel as well, so it's not a bad skill, pretty good one. One of the better ones out of most of the GX ones we've seen. Next we have a Rainbow Crystal Collection. So if a face-up Crystal Beast monster you control would be destroyed, you can place a crystallization counter on it instead. So monsters with crystallization counters are considered continuous spell cards in your spell and trap zones instead of monsters. If a card with a crystallization counter would be special summoned, remove the counter. Cards with crystallization counters can be used as fusion material for ultimate crystal monsters. So this basically allows you to get a multiple use out of your Crystal Beast monsters. So if they would be destroyed, you can put a counter on them to count them as being their crystal form. And it helps to bring out your ultimate crystal fusion monster. Rainbow Overdragon, I think it was. We'll get to that at the end of the cards. So speaking of monsters, we'll go through the cards. There is only 8 monsters. No, 9 monsters. I can't count. So we have straight up Rainbow Dragon. So this card is always treated as an ultimate crystal card. Cannot be normal summon set, must be special summoned from your hand by having 7 Crystal Beasts with different names on the field and or graveyard. This card cannot activate the following effects the turn it is summoned. You can send all Crystal Beasts you control to the graveyard. This card gains a 1000 attack for each monster sent to the graveyard. You can banish all Crystal Beast monsters from your graveyard to shuffle all cards on the field into the deck. So this is Jesse's ultimate monster, and really it's the powerhouse of the deck. You're very unlikely to ever summon this out, as I'm going to get to in the strengths and weaknesses. Most of your hard work for this deck will be done by your Crystal Beast monsters, but if you do manage to summon it out, it is a pretty much end game. Moving on, we have Crystal Beast Amethyst Cat. So like I said, there's only 9 cards in here. There's 7 Crystal Beasts, Rainbow Dragon, and a random Crystal Seer. So this card can attack your opponent directly, but only inflicts half this card's attack points as damage to the opponent. If this card is destroyed while in a monster zone, you can place it in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell card. So there's a common effect to all the crystal beasts that allow them to become crystals in your spell and trap card zone. So next we got Crystal Beast Amber Mammoth. So when another Crystal Beast monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can change the attack target to this card. And again, if this card is destroyed in your monster zones, you can place it in your spell and trap card zones as a continuous spell card instead of sending it to the graveyard. So Amber Mammoth, along with Topaz Tiger and Pegasus, are your workhorses for the deck. Pun intended on Pegasus's behalf. Basically, these are your beat sticks, 1700 and 1600 on a level 4 monster, pretty good. And the added protection of becoming a crystal. Next we have Ruby Carbuncle. So when this card is special summoned, you can special summon as many crystal beasts from your spell and trap card zones as possible. If this face-up card is destroyed in your monster zone, you can place it in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. So this is one of the few ways you've got of reactivating your crystals. So if you can special summon Carbuncle, you can bring out more of your crystal beasts from your spell and trap card zones. But she is there to try and get some extra life out of your crystals, as I just said. Next we have Emerald Tortoise, who once per turn, you can target one monster you control that attacked this turn, change it to defensive position. If this face-up card is destroyed in your monster zones, place it in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell card instead of sending to the graveyard. So this one is pretty much your heavy defender of your deck. So 600 attack, but massive 2000 defense for a level 3 monster. And the effect that allows you to turn one of your own monsters to defense position is good, so you can go on the offensive and then switch it to defense to protect yourself. So really handy effect. Next up we have Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger. So if this card attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 400 attack during a damage step only. If this face-up card is destroyed in the monster zones, place it in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous spell card instead of sending to the graveyard. So, like I said, Crystal Beast, Topaz Tiger, and Pegasus and Mammoth are your heavy hitters of the deck. Topaz Tiger's ability to gain an extra 400 attack during damage calculation against an opponent's monster is pretty good, putting it up to 2000. Other than that, it is a pretty standard sort of card. Next we have Cobalt Eagle. So once per turn, you can target another Crystal Beast card you control. Place that target on top of the deck. If this face-up card is destroyed in your monster zones, place it in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. So this allows you to free up your backfield pretty much. There is not a lot of cards that allow you to do this, and there's a lot of cards in the deck. Again, I'll explain when I get to the weaknesses that I think will cause you to clog up your backfield. Cobalt Eagle allows you to send one of those crystal beasts from your backfield to the top of your deck, so you got an open slot to play a spell. Finally, the last crystal beast monster we got is Sapphire Pegasus. So when this card is normal summoned, you can place a crystal beast from your deck or graveyard face up in your spell and trap card zones as a continuous spell card. If this card is destroyed in the monster zone, and you can place it in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. So, like I said, this is the last of the workhorse cards. The 1800 beat stick of the deck is not to be sniffed at, and helps you bring out crystal beasts from your deck by putting them as spell cards on your backfield. And finally we have Crystal Seer, who's literally only in there because of Crystal. Other than that, it's a pretty good spellcaster monster that once flipped you can excavate the top 2 cards of your deck, add one to your hand, and place the other at the bottom of your deck. Pretty good card to help search out and make sure you find your crystal beasts when you want them. The one thing you don't want is Rainbow Dragon turning up early on in the game. So if you've found that in your top 2 cards, put that on the bottom of your deck and take the other card to your hand. Moving on to our spells, we've got quite a few. Most of them are one use, but we have, first up, a field spell. So Ancient City Rainbow Ruins. You must have this many crystal beasts in your spell and track card zones to activate resolve these effects. So if you have 1 crystal beast in your spell and track card zones, you can destroy it. This card cannot be destroyed by point of card effects. If you have 2 or more once per turn, you can have, even during your opponents, you can have the damage you take. And 3 or more, when a spell card is activated, you can send a crystal beast monster you control to the graveyard and to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. The 4 and 5 will most likely never be used because we only use the 3 spell and track card zones. But we do also have the bonus of once per turn during your main phase you can draw a card, and once per turn during your main phase target a crystal beast card in your spell and track card zone and special summon it. Pretty good. The ability to negate and destroy a spell and track card is always good as long as you got a crystal beast to get rid of. And halving damage. And also having this card immune to card effects is pretty good. Just make sure you don't run out of crystal beasts to trigger the effects. And of course, don't forget those effects do stack. So now next up we have rare value. So if you control 2 or more crystal beasts in your spell and track card zone, your opponent sends one of them to the graveyard and then you draw 2 cards. So this is one of the other ways you can clear the crystal beasts from your backfield. Your opponent selects one of them, sends it to the graveyard, and you get 2 cards in return. Crystal Blessing. Target up the 2 crystal beasts in your graveyard and place them in your face up in your spell and track card zones as continuous spells. So this helps you to recycle your crystal beasts, bringing them back from the graveyard and putting them into their crystal forms. Next we've got Crystal Promise. So target a crystal beast in your spell and track card zone and special summon it. So due to the limited spell zone this is going to be one of the few ways you have to summon Ruby Carbuncle as a special summon, and you would then be able to trigger Carbuncle's effect to summon any other crystal beasts in your spell and track card zones. Next we have Crystal Release. So this is an equip card. Equip only to a crystal beast monster. It gains 800 attack. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can place a crystal beast monster from your deck face up in your spell and track card zones as a continuous spell. So a nice 800 boost to your lower level crystal beast monsters, sending them into some pretty mean monsters. And the added bonus of searching out another crystal beast in your deck. Next we have Crystal Tree. So this is a card that I think is going to clog up the deck and spell track card zones quite a lot. So each time a crystal beast monster is placed in either player's spell or track card zones, place a crystal counter on this card. You can send this card to the graveyard, take a number of crystal beast monsters from your deck equal to the number of crystal counters that were on this card and place them face up in your spell and track card zone as continuous spells. Pretty useless if you're not facing another crystal beast deck, and really I'd say it takes up too much space both in the deck and on the field in order to really see much play. Moving on, we have our traps. So, Crystal Raigeki. We send a crystal beast from our spell and track card zones to the graveyard, target another card on the field that your opponent controls, and destroy it. Pretty handy for eliminating anything your opponent has. It could be a monster, a spell, or even a trap or fields card. Next we have Rainbow Life. So discard 1 card until the end of this turn. Each time you would take damage, gain that amount of life points instead. So very handy. There's going to be times where you have very little in the way of monsters to defend you, and this card will come in handy. At the cost of a single card, you will gain the life points that you would have lost. Next we have Rainbow Gravity. So if you have 7 crystal beasts with different names on your field or graveyard, special summon an ultimate crystal beast monster from your deck or graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. So if you still haven't drawn Rainbow Dragon, this is a way you can get your Rainbow Dragon out, as long as you've got all your crystal beasts on the field or in the graveyard. Next we have Gravel Storm. So target a spell or trap on each field and return it to the hand. So this is the last card that will help you clear your backfield. Just sends the card back to your hand. And it's a good thing, it targets your field and your opponent's as well. So it's pretty good to help clear out both fields. Finally, we have Crystal Conclave. So once per turn, if a face-up Crystal Beast monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, special summon 1 Crystal Beast monster from your deck. You can send this face-up card on the field to the graveyard, then target a Crystal Beast card you control, and 1 card on the field, return them to the hand. You cannot activate these effects in the same chain. So this is one of the first cards I think in Speed Duels that talks about activations and chains. But it's a pretty good card on most effects. Bringing out extra crystal beasts is always good for the deck. And then clearing the field by returning, sending this card to the graveyard, target a crystal beast you control, and one additional card from the field returned to the hand. Helps clear your field and your opponent's as well, so not too bad. And our last card for the Jesse deck is Rainbow Overdragon. So a Dragon Fusion and Effect monster, which requires 7 crystal beasts to be used as fusion material. So this card is always treated as an ultimate crystal card. Must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing a level 10 ultimate crystal monster. Once per turn, you can banish 1 crystal beast monster from your graveyard. This card gains attack equal to the banished monsters until the end of this turn. Then a quick effect, you contribute this fusion summon card, shuffle all cards on the field into the decks. So much like with Rainbow Dragon, it has the 4,000 attack and 0 defense, and has the clear the field effect. It also has a bonus effect to banish 1 of your crystal beasts and gain attack equal to that monster's attack. So you can banish a tiger, mammoth, or even your Pegasus to gain a pretty sizable chunk of extra attack points. So the other good thing about it is you contribute your Rainbow Dragon to bring it out, so you won't need to fusion summon. Other than that, you will require to fusion 7 crystal beast cards. And with no polymerization in the deck, it is really the only way you bring it out is by sacrificing your Rainbow Dragon. So, like I said, this is going to be a double overview, as we have some extra cards to look at. So, let's embrace the darkness with the Yubel cards. So, we have Consumed by Darkness as the Yubel skill. So, all Crystal Beast monsters on the field and in the graveyard become dark. If an ultimate crystal monster attacks, negate the effects of the attack target during the battle phase. During damage calculation, if a crystal beast monster you control battles and you would take damage, send a crystal beast from your deck to the graveyard and you take no damage. So this is just a skill version of the Advanced Dark Field spell. So it gives you 2 copies of the same effect and helps you ditch your crystal beasts into the graveyard. So next we got Rainbow Dark Dragon. So much like its light counterpart, this is always treated as an ultimate crystal card. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 7 dark monsters with different names in your graveyard. You can banish all dark monsters from your field and graveyard. This card gains 5 attack for each card banished this way. So, pretty risky summoning conditions. You must have 7 dark monsters with different names in your graveyard, and then you must banish those again. You then also have the effect that you can gain 500 attack by banishing all other dark cards you control or are in the graveyard. So not as good as the light version, but still a pretty devastating effect. Next we have Crystal Beacon. So this can be used in the regular Crystal Beast deck. It's just from the spare extra cards, but it allows you to special summon a Crystal Beast from your deck. You must have 2 or more Crystal Beasts in your spell and track card zones to activate and resolve this effect. So it helps again speed out the Crystal Beasts. And then finally we got Advanced Dark again. So this is the same as the skill. So all Crystal Beast monsters on the field and in the graveyard become dark. So this helps you bring out the Dark Rainbow Dragon. So if an Ultimate Crystal Beast monster, which Rainbow Dark Dragon is, attacks, you negate the effects of the attack target during the battle phase. Then during damage calculation, if a Crystal Beast monster you control battles and you would take damage, you can send another Crystal Beast from your deck to the graveyard to negate that damage. So this just gives you a second copy of the skill to activate the field spell in case your opponent has managed to destroy it. Until such time as the actual Dark Crystal Beast cards come out, I don't know if they do exist. This is the only way you can bring out Rainbow Dark Dragon. And it's nice that we have the added bonus of a 9th duelist as such. So this is basically your Bell when they possessed Jessie. So pretty good. It gives a little bit of extra playability to the collection as a whole, I think. And I'll be quite interested to see if they do a Jaden possessed, or possibly even the Dark King would be quite nice, which has pretty recently been added to Duel Links. So, strengths and weaknesses. Works well as a Crystal Beast deck, but doesn't work well as I'd say a winning deck. There's a good amount of support that allows you to bring out your Crystal Beasts, swap them out, return them, and even destroy your opponent's cards by sacrificing those Crystal Beasts. Your big cards are going to be part of your weakness. You only have 1 Rainbow Dragon, making it hard to bring out from the deck in the first place. But you do have that trap card that allows you to summon it straight from the deck. The only other thing that's a weakness of this deck is your backfield, which is your free spell and track card zones, will get clogged up pretty quickly. Especially if you bring your Crystal Beasts from the monsters to the spell and track cards. As I mentioned, you are rarely going to bring out your big monster, Rainbow Dragon, and possibly even rarer bring out Over Dragon. So those cards kind of are wasted in the deck. If you want to strip the deck down, double up on all the monsters, and only run a select few spells and traps, you probably could make for some better combinations and actually bring out the cards more often. Modifications, like I said, take Crystal Beacon from the extra cards. That will be useful. Crystal Seer is kind of a one-use card. There's no way to get it back on the field once its effect is done. So it's really kind of only there as being crystal in name. It's no real benefit to the deck, I don't think. Personally, I'd run Crystal Seer in maybe a Spellcaster deck or a Destiny Hero deck, perhaps, where you want to see what your next card's going to be and prepare for a future turn. Other than that, there's not a lot you can really do to this deck. You can swap it around to become the dark version with the Bell skill, which is nice. But other than that, Crystal Beasts have always been not the easiest set of cards to play. They do work slightly better in speed duels, as there is less cards in your deck to go through to get them all out. But due to the limited size of the field, you aren't going to be keeping those crystals around long enough to use the combos in the deck, I don't think. So that's pretty much all there is. Like I said, to sum it up, I think this is probably the weakest of the decks in the Duel Academy box. But it's still a fun deck, and that's really what this game is all about. So, I hope you have enjoyed that. If you have any comments about this, please let me know in the comments section down below. I do like to read and reply to every comment I get. So I will thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. It will help the channel out if you did so. Also, if you'd like to help the channel and get dedicated videos, there's my affiliate links for Curzon Games, my Buy Me a Coffee channel, as well as my social media and my eBay page. So I'll see you next time for some more mad content. Goodbye.